Hello and welcome to Drama After Dark. I'm your host, Andrea O'Lannon, and joining me today is my co-host, Jackie Bruley.
It's me!
Unfortunately, our guest this week, Christina Quinn, won't be with us. She's at home nursing a very sick little baby.
We hope that they all feel better soon at the Quinn household, and we also hope that Christina will be able to join us later in the season, so if you were jonesing for Christina, she'll be back.
In the meantime, buckle up and get ready for episode 2 of Poldark. So, our first segment today is the timed recap. And today Jackie's going to take it on. Jackie, how you feeling?
I will not lie to you. I am a little concerned. I had trouble with this in our rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wrote 2 times as long of a recap as I needed to do. Mm-hmm. And you mocked me mercilessly for the last week.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I did so well, I have hubris now. So you know next week I'm going to bomb it is what's going to happen.
Well, hopefully you will not. Hopefully I will not. We will get this done together, and I think I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
Putting 30 seconds on the timer, and go.
Everybody's in London. George to do some shady mahogany business, and Poldark and Penvenning cruise to help clear Ned's name. Back in Cornwall, Morena and Drake continue to be sad, and Tess doubles down on her creepy antics. Ross convinces Ned's former coworker Ballantyne, not Valentine, to help clear Ned's name by spilling the tea on his good deeds, which Ross turns into a pamphlet. Dwight helps prove the assassin from last week is innocent because of a brain injury. Jeffrey, Charles, and Cecily continue to get their flirt on with grudging approval from Demelza, and Ross's spy handler is not happy about him spending so much time with these treasony folks, so they go back to Cornwall. With Ned and a couple other folks.
Nice try adding some stuff in there at the end.
I was like, do I have enough time to get this in? I don't know. And I didn't. But I tried.
But you did pretty good for a timed recap.
Thank you, Andrea.
Much better than historical for this week.
See? Merciless mocking all the time.
Sass. I call it sass.
You gotta get sassy. It's important.
So that was a great timed recap. But let's talk a little bit more about our favorite moments from this week.
Do let's.
So my personal favorite moment was George getting knighted.
Yeah.
He did a lot of bad stuff this week.
George with the slavery's fine. A low point for George in a series of kind of low
I mean, he's
valleys.
getting a lot of low points right now.
Yeah, not
But I think him getting knighted was pretty cool because we have that whole backstory of the grandson of a blacksmith.
Yeah.
And he's made it, he's done a very Jefferson's thing, moving on up.
Yeah,
to trend with.
He's got a mansion now.
Yeah, he's got a mansion, he's a knight. It's going great for George. Unfortunately, he's not paying it forward. So we're gonna see that, I think, collapse on him.
I think so too. And speaking of swords,
how
do you like that? One of my very favorite moments from this episode is what I am calling a sexy sword fight. I know that might not be what people want to think about, but I gotta say, Ned and Ross just having a Top Gun volleyball scene.
Oh my God, yes.
Was maybe one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
It was excellent. I think especially that scene was it reminded me a lot of, ironically, my favorite comedy, Coming to America.
Oh, I love it. Do continue.
A little less comedy, a little more drama.
Sure.
But it's always I love a good fight and push the plot forward scene.
Yeah.
Fight and chat.
Fight and chat.
Just, mwah, love it. I love it. And it worked really well here too because we not only got to see that Ned is actually a really good warrior type figure.
Oh my goodness, no wonder he's Ross's former commander.
I know. And that Ross is also pretty handy with a sword as well, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I just in general, I love good fight choreo and nothing better than a little sweaty Ross Poldark action. Sue me.
And speaking of sexy bad boy Ross Poldark.
Yes, let's always talk about sexy bad boy Ross Poldark.
We got to see, which is what we call Ross ever since that first season, when our friend George put out the pamphlet that Ross is a terrible man, and then the whole town was like, yes, we know, and we love it.
Yeah, he basically wrote a burn book about Ross that was just yeah, he's dangerous and feisty, and he defends his beliefs. Sexy bad boy, Ross Poldark.
And this week, we saw that Ross sort of took a page out of that pamphlet, if you will, and made his own pamphlet about sexy bad boy Ned Despard, and it worked beautifully, as far as we can tell. We're now seeing, actually, at the end of this episode, I think we saw that it might come back and bite him on the butt a little bit.
Might have worked a little too well.
Yeah, they might have done their work too hard. But we will see how that rolls out.
Yeah.
And also, what do you think the modern day equivalent of pamphleting is? Is it like putting out a really intense tweet about your best friend?
It's bro, you should see my best friend. He's so good at fighting. He's
Yeah.
such a good guy. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Like very complimentary tweeting about somebody.
Yeah, which I love.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite parts of internet culture. It's pure goodness. Be nice about your friends.
If you have the modern day equivalent of it, get at us on social media. Or alternately, we also want to talk this week a little bit about Tess.
Tess.
Again.
We need to talk about Tess.
We always need to talk about Tess.
Oh,
I
Tess.
mean, she's been trouble from day one, but now we see her doing what Demelza did early on and trying on the lady of the house's wardrobe.
What is it with the women on this show and rifling through each other's clothes?
It's not okay.
Kind of weird. I don't really know what that's about.
It's true. And she seems to be talking to Garrick, precious, wonderful Garrick,
The ultimate super dog.
about possibly taking over that throne, if you will. So what do you guys think? Is that going to happen? Is that possible? Could she ever?
Could you ever take out Demelza in Ross Poldark's eyes if you're not Elizabeth?
I don't know.
I
But
don't like that there has to be an if in that, but
I know.
we do.
But in the meantime, let's see what fans are saying on here. Oh, we have a really great tweet from Jennifer Beatty, I think, or Beatty. I love all the parallel themes going on in this season. Every true and good heart finding themselves risking something for the sake of love or friendship or justice. Wonderful.
I love that.
That's really sweet. And I think that's very true, is it's a very intense season for that. And we also have a really great analysis from the Nerdy Girl Express at the Nerdy Girl EXP.
Great Twitter handle.
I think we found our soul sisters there, to be
Yeah.
honest. Morwenna was damaged by Osborne's mistreatment, but Drake is patient and supportive of his wife. Also very sweet. So we have some good stuff going on. Get at us with your Tess commentary or your modern day equivalent of pamphleting for your best friend to save him from treason charges. Either way. Also, with Christina missing this week, I think we're going to take a little moment to talk to each other about what we do at WGBH.
Yeah, who are we anyway? That's a great question.
Exactly.
So
Jackie, tell me about yourself.
Well, so I am the digital marketing manager for WGBH, and so I do a lot of advertising on Facebook, and also writing some of those emails that you get in your inbox, and then this. So I'm very lucky to work with really cool people like Andrea and our behind-the-scenes crew. There are 4 of them, so it's not just us in a lit room being weird, and we get to do really cool projects.
Yeah. How long have you been at WGBH too?
I think I am going into my 3rd year or 4th year. That's not good that I don't remember. But time flies when you're having fun. How about that?
That's very good.
What about you, Andrea?
So I am I'm a digital producer.
Yes.
But I focus mostly on programming, production content. So making content around our programming shows, coming up with ideas on how to promote them. So I do a lot of dramas, not just Poldark, unfortunately for me, but also Durrells, which we saw earlier tonight, and Press, which I believe we were going to see later tonight as well.
Yeah. Packed night.
Packed night. Oh my gosh.
Big Sunday.
And a lot of BBC shows as well. So I enjoy doing that a lot. And so I write, I do video. A lot of the content you'll see on YouTube or on our website.
And you've been here for just a little while.
Just a little while, 10 years. So
Big 10.
since I left college, I am still juvenile in terms of my body, but I've been here longer than a lot of people.
So yeah, that's us.
And now I think we have a little bit of a battle to attend to.
We do. It's time for the hot take debate.
So this week we're talking about Cecily.
Yes. Mahogany heiress.
The mahogany heiress. How do we feel about the mahogany heiress exactly? Cecily, in my opinion, she seems a little schemy and a little cold for Jeffrey Charles. She seems to have something going on, and I don't quite trust her.
Well, I think that Cecily is a wonderful gal who just wants to support Jeffrey Charles and is here to have a good time. And she has really cool politics, so I think that she secretly has good intentions, even though she comes across a little schemy.
But that's like saying the politics of a celebrity are good. That's like saying, oh, I love that celebrity because their politics are good. They don't believe that. They're still making a ton of money.
Well, she is not getting anything out of it. She doesn't have a public platform. Are you saying she's getting Jeffrey Charles out of it? Is that the goal?
I'm saying she's getting Jeffrey Charles out of it, not just that, but also the fact that like she's getting her dad's frustration out of it. She's getting Jeffrey Charles out of it. It's like she's acting out towards these politics. She's like the kid who's liberal until it's time to take over the family Republican lawyership.
She's like the Patty Hearst of this show?
Yeah, she's the Patty Hearst of the show, exactly.
I disagree. I think that she's genuinely interested in this. I think we can see that she's already attending these meetings and dragging along her very grumpy governess before Jeffrey Charles even arrives in London. So I think like she may be doing it partly to get back at Daddy, but she's not doing it just for Jeffrey Charles. I think that there's a little heart inside of her that is like, these are good causes and I believe in them.
Yeah, but don't you think maybe Jeffrey Charles is also part of her trying to get her dad frustrated?
Maybe, but I actually think that there's something more to it. The way that they talk about their relationship, they have something really important in common, which is that they like are both missing a mother figure, Jeffrey Charles recently, and I think them being able to bond over that is something that they both kind of need. And I think she also is further along in the grieving process, so she's able to be a little bit more, she's got a little bit of a 10,000 foot view, so she can say to him like, look, Jeffrey Charles, it will get better. I know this sucks, but like, time heals all wounds, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, I think she comes across as a little bit flippant, but like, she's trying.
Well, but like the thing to me is she comes across as flippant because I feel like she doesn't care. Like Jeffrey Charles, to your point, has just had this loss. He's hugely affected by it, and she sees something she can manipulate there.
Ooh.
And I think we're going to find out that she's just as villainous as George in the long run, so they actually might not be a bad match for each other.
That would be interesting. I mean, here's the thing. We have two options for her. She's either George, evil, probably, and loves to scheme, or she's Caroline, who we see, remember when we first met Caroline, and we all thought, like, ugh, she's just a spoiled rich girl. She doesn't genuinely care about anything, except for trying to, like, hook up with Dwight, and fair enough, girl, I get it.
All I'm going to say is Cecily's going to have a buy some oranges for the poor townsfolk moment pretty darn soon for me not to believe that she's not a sociopath.
I wouldn't be mad at it if she bought some oranges for the poor, or in fact, if she got her own Horace the Pug. That would go a long way.
That's another thing, is she doesn't have a pet.
Dueling pugs.
She didn't have a pet. She has a governess who she neglects, so we don't see her caring for something small.
Governess?
Yes.
You can. Okay, that's hilarious. The governess is supposed to take care of her.
Okay, if Caroline had a governess, though, they would be friends. They would be like getting tea and talking about people behind their back.
True. I do like that.
Getting tea and spilling tea.
Hey! I love it. I also love that we've hit upon a secret theory of Poldark, which is that the women who have pets are the good people, and the one who don't are the bad ones, because
pets are children.
Pets are children.
Yeah, there it is.
Nailed it.
Exactly.
New theory of the show.
So we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that, and
I guess
see if
we will.
our new theory, our new Poldarkian theory, comes true.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. In the meantime, let's see if we got any more CTAs coming
Yes.
through on Tess or Cecily or pamphleting in the modern day. All right. So we have Eric Pridemore from Oklahoma. Hello from Colbert, Oklahoma, WGBH Boston.
Oh my gosh, hi!
Hey! I sure love watching Poldark on Masterpiece, only on OETA and PBS. And I'll be watching Poldark when the next episode airs on Masterpiece next week on PBS. Delightful!
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
So glad to have you here.
We're always happy to have more Poldorks joining us.
Yes.
And we're delighted that you're coming in all the way from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Who knew?
Who knew? And now it's time for another segment.
New one.
A new segment that we are going to call Who's That Guy?
Na 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 na.
Who's that guy? And I believe you wanted to take this one on, Jackie?
I did. So as a avowed fan of Poldark, but also James Bond, I had to talk about the fact that there is now a shadowy villain with a pet. Oh no, a villain with a pet. Our theory's already...
Well, there it is.
Well,
it's an evil pet, though. It's not a puppy.
It's a falcon. Can we talk about how cool it is that the bad guy this season has a falcon on his hand? He's just like, you cannot get more evil cued than a dude with a falcon. It's very Blofeld and Bond. All he needs to be doing is have it in his hand and wearing a big signet ring and just be petting the falcon for it to be even better. And I love that he's just mysteriously murdering people.
I would say that I feel like a loose leather glove is about as intimidating as a signet ring when you're holding an animal.
Oh, I have it. Don't worry. This falcon only kills at my command. Like,
we have not yet seen the falcon kill somebody, though, so.
I think we will, maybe. We'll find out.
Oh, that's going to be a little scary.
Very creepy.
It is very creepy. Also creepy, more like depressing, I'm going to be honest. So we had a really rough like it was dealt with interestingly in this episode. I think it was dealt with sort of across the episode is racism and slavery in the UK at this time period.
Yes.
And it was really interesting to me because you have George okaying slavery.
Yeah.
You have Kitty facing some real antagonism at multiple times throughout the episode.
Yeah.
And even in the background in George's house, he had some almost caricatured African figures in the background as candlesticks also. And it was pretty uncomfortable in the modern day. So I wanted to learn more, so I looked into it. And what I found out was really interesting, actually, which is that at this time, in England, because of the Napoleonic Wars that we saw last season, there was a big influx of black soldiers and sailors coming into London.
Oh.
So you have this huge population growth in the black community in London. And then you also see, like in Georgia's storyline, that slavery hasn't been abolished yet in the in the British Empire.
Yikes.
So slavery is still cool. There's a huge influx of a black population. And then also during this period, there was a huge growth in anatomy as well, with Grey's Anatomy coming out.
The book, not the show.
Yeah, not the show, right around this period. And then also them doing a lot more research into anatomy. And so then with that came the growth of scientific racism, which would then lead to Nazism in the 20th century. So there's a lot of confluence of terrible things happening at once with the growth of this community. And so you do get a lot of racism happening like we saw happening towards Kitty, and you do see people being like, oh, you know, we should abolish this, but also slaves are so helpful on my work, like working for me. So not great. It seems like it was a really terrible time to be black in England.
It's so interesting because I think we in America focus a lot on abolition in the US and we don't talk as much about when other countries actually like finally stopped doing this terrible thing.
I think so, and I'm really delighted that they're focusing on it at this time period because I didn't know enough about it, and the show thus far has presented it as almost like an idyllic type of land when it comes to race. And I think that the fact that it wasn't, it's great that the show's tackling this and actually showing how it is rather than just showing free men and women who are doing fine when in truth that isn't what was happening.
Yeah, and I think we also both really enjoyed, or not enjoyed, but thought it was really great that they had a moment where Kitty gets to say to Demelza, like, this is not as simple as you think it is.
Yes, exactly.
When they're walking in the park and Demelza's like, look, see people like you here, and Kitty's like, yes, because they think I'm your maid. Like, that I think is such an important intersectionality moment. It's nice to see the show tackling those themes.
Exactly, and I think it's great because Demelza's been a great feminist figure to this point with sharing household duties with Ross and all this stuff, and then in this moment, it's sort of amping up her feminism to another level.
Yeah.
And on that note, I actually think you had a recommendation based on the race issues in this episode.
I did. So for If You Like This tonight, we wanted to recommend a show that is also a masterpiece original. It's called Indian Summers.
Oh, yeah.
It is a lush, beautiful period drama that we love, but also it has a lot of exploration of themes of colonialism and race, specifically interracial relationships, that I think fans of this particular episode will also really enjoy. And it is a real like hard, accurate look at what that time was like in India in the colonial era. So if you enjoyed tonight's episode, I would suggest giving that a shot. It's a really cool show, and it's all streaming on WGBH Passport. Check it out.
That takes us into our ranking of the day, which today the theme is Stand By Your Man or Woman.
Or woman.
And our favorite moments of that in this show.
Yeah.
So I think our first one, or rather our fifth one, was the epic moment when Demelza goes, oh, I would have let Ross punch him about Kitty pulling Ned away from a guy he wants to fight with. And them both agreeing that, like, yeah, we would have totally gotten into that fist fight.
That's the most, I think, maybe the most Demelza and Ross Poldark moment of the show this season. We know that they love a good fight, and they're always kind of spoiling to get into the action, but it's kind of nice to see them both acknowledging, like, oh yes, we are hotheads. This is how we do.
Yeah, and the fact that they would both, I feel, if one got into a fight, the other one would be right there to back them up is
oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of adorable.
They're very ride or die for each other, and as much as like we can't condone violence, some of these people maybe should get punched in the face. I'm sorry.
As we saw with yet another beach fight.
When do we not have a beach fight
Exactly.
in Poldark, you know?
And that actually, bringing that up, is Kitty defending Ned is also an example of stand by your man moment, because she's really, you know, she knows her husband, she knows what he's like, and she knows that he's in a really tough time right now, being accused of treason, having already been in prison. Better he don't go back, I think.
Yeah. Yes, and also I think we've seen in this show that like simple fights can turn into death very easily, and that can also happen in real life, obviously. But they're dueling a lot.
Yeah, and I think also the thing is Hanson, our mahogany man, as it were, he is very litigious, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the type who would be like, oh no, Splinter, I'm suing you.
Oh, yeah. And he also is the kind of guy, by the way, who's like, someone might be making trouble for our business dealings. Let's discredit Ross Poldark. And George is not sure about it. If George is unsure about a plot to take down Ross, then you're maybe going too far.
Yeah.
You might be too shady.
It's true. It's true. And then, also cute, one of our other favorite couples, Caroline and Dwight.
Oh my gosh, I love them so much.
It's great. Caroline being the plant in that like conference about psychiatric treatment in hospitals. And when everybody starts getting bored, standing up and being like, oh, excuse me, sir, just a woman trying to learn more about medicine.
Like, I have a question and I've never seen Dwight Ennis before in my life. Winkety wink, wink, wink.
I love that bit because they play it both like, she's playing the counterpoint of what the audience thinks. So they want to hear him discredited, even if she's the one doing it. And she knows that because, as we've talked about, she's super schemy, but in a
we love her.
helpful way.
Yeah.
So her doing that is really, I thought it was really adorable.
I also love that she does this like really cute face when she starts to ask her question to Dwight, where it's like, babe, you're not doing great. I'm gonna fix this problem for you. She's just like, hey, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Sir?
You don't know how to get the crowd on your side, but I do.
Yes, and we love it.
Yeah.
Go Caroline.
Fantastic. And then we have the sad moment.
Oh, this was a really tough moment.
It was.
It was a very strong moment, but a tough one.
Which is George explaining to Ross, it's our fault that Elizabeth died, which is accurate AF.
Yes,
and
so accurate.
having George, whose lucidity has been in question a lot this season, pushing through, admitting Elizabeth's dead, and saying to Ross, it was your fault. It was my fault. I accept that. You need to accept that it's your fault, is huge. Yeah, especially because I feel like normally it's the other way around, with Ross being the one who's with it and culpable for his actions and all of that, and George is usually the one that's like, no, I'm a fancy boy.
It's fine, whatever I do is okay.
Yeah, and this, now he knows, and it's just how much Elizabeth actually meant to him, I think.
Yeah. I think the other thing we were sort of noticing when we watched the show for the first time is that it's interesting that George can have this moment of real lucidity and clarity when he's out in London talking to Ross, but the minute he gets home or he's with his uncle or Valentine, that's when he falls into this really like hard place where he starts to really think Elizabeth is still there. And it's happening more and more as the episodes go on.
It's almost like his personal life is too hard for him to deal with, but he's fine being out in society, and that's an easy thing for him to deal with and cope with.
Because he can like put on that mask of George Warlegan, respected businessman and knight.
Yes, now knight.
But he goes home and he's just like, Valentine, look, mother is here.
Yeah, oh my God.
Heartbreaking.
Yes.
But good for him for standing up to Ross and telling Ross to get it together. Someone needs to do it every season, and I'm glad it's already happening in this final season.
Yes. And then the last one is a stand by your man, but a stand by your man friend.
Yes, I love that. Perfect description.
Exactly, is the ladies canvassing for Ned. And I think it's really lovely because, you know, they're all just like, all right, we're gonna solve this problem. And they just go right out into, it's Hyde Park that they're supposed to be in, right? They just go right out into Hyde Park and start handing out pamphlets and being like, have you heard the good word about Ned Despard? Let me tell you, madam.
Take this pamphlet home and have my reading materials. I think you'll learn something interesting tonight.
And I think I'm hoping we'll see it work well, though Ross did seem a little stressed by it.
I think it's one of those things where they meant so well.
They did.
And it's like a classic Demelza tries to do the right thing. They almost always work out for her, but the spy handler guy did not enjoy that.
Oh, no.
Like, why are you handing out pamphlets about a potentially bad guy? What are you guys doing? Get it together.
So wrapping that up, we're going to take a look once more and see what you guys thought about the moments of the day,
Yeah.
Tess, Cecily, pamphlets,
Anything.
etc.
Your thoughts, your feelings, your Poldark mood.
Your Poldark mood. So we have a comment from T at IceT17, which is, quote, slave labor, will that be a concern? End quote. Next quote, why would it? And from T, if the audience didn't think George was a villain before, and then we have an adorable little bunny gif going. Literally what you just did.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how we reacted when George said it, but there was more
Yeah.
cursing. George,
Yeah,
what are you
I think
doing?
I was screaming at the TV at least. And then we have leave it to George to not be concerned about slave labor, swearing emoji face.
Yeah.
From Liz is spooky and not afraid of spiders at, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your Twitter handle, but it looks like Ameligatha. So
Okay,
fingers
I like
crossed.
it.
And then finally, we have a comment from Terry Quinn.
Hey,
Terry Quinn! Our own head of production, I believe, here, production services at
Yeah.
WGBH.
She's the one that makes us all look so good on this couch. Well, one of the ones who makes us look so good on this couch.
I believe she's the manager of production services. And she says, when will Ross listen to Demelza? She has a better grip on almost every situation. Spoken like a true Poldark.
We agree, Terry.
Thank you.
When will Ross listen to Demelza?
We will talk about this over the cubicles tomorrow morning.
Now, we had a great time tonight, and we hope that you did too. And we also hope that you will be back with us next week. We are going to return again, and we have a special guest.
Tell me more.
It's going to be Jen Dederick, who's an author and a guest on Greater Boston sometimes, and she's going to talk about women in history. So I'm really excited to have her join us. So you should not miss that. And if you want more drama all the time from WGBH, don't forget to join our Facebook drama club. It's WGBH Drama Club on Facebook if you look it up. And we will see you next week for more drama after dark.
Have a great week. Bye.